Hey there, everybody. Welcome to something completely different. I'm not even sure why I'm gonna make this. Is it a podcast? Is it a just a mini series? But either way, I feel like I need to get some information about my life out there. So, welcome to this thing. This thing that I'm going to be venting about certain frustrating things. Like, for example, today's topic is going to be on my current job. I am working for a certain pizza delivery company. I can't say who they are by name. I mean, I could, but I don't want to have them. I wouldn't say I don't want to have them being associated with me because I'd make them look bad, but I mean, I don't know if they'd like to have me associated with them. So, yeah, we'll just leave it as a certain pizza delivery company. I won't. It could be Papa John's, it could be Domino's, it could be Pizza Hut, or it could be Little Caesars for all you know. All that you know is that I work for a pizza delivery company. And we'll leave it at that. Alright, so first and foremost, I just want to say, I do enjoy my job. I really do. The problem with it is, the hours are kind of long, and longer than I'd like to be there anyway, and I feel like my talents there are basically not being able to put to use. I'm more of a writer. I'm a creative person, and there I'm required to do basically lifting labor, some basically chore-like tasks, and of course the deliveries, which again aren't too bad. I mean, when I'm not under pressure, because sometimes I get under pressure there. But yeah, first and foremost, I do enjoy the job. The thing I don't enjoy is the hours, and mainly the hours. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah. Considering this is a podcast, I'm probably going to do most of this without cutting or whatever, but I don't know. If there's something I need to cut out, then I will. But anyway, back to topic. Um, right now, I'm opening. Let's see. As of right now, I say I work about 40 hours a week. Usually, at least that's what it feels like. I feel like I'm once things get back into play, like with things getting more properly ordered, I feel like I should be going back to around 30 to 35 hours, which honestly would save me a lot of trouble and a lot of pain. Let's see. First and foremost, let's talk about what I do on Mondays. Mondays is my closing night. I come in at around 4:30 and I help close the store. That basically goes from washing all the items in the make line and mopping the floor after the manager sleeps and all. Now, I used to hate this, but honestly, compared to another evil that I've been having to do in the job, opening is super easy. Closing is super easy. I love closing when it comes to when compared to opening, because for closing, there's hardly any orders on Monday night because we also stay open late. Like everywhere else closes around 10 where I'm at. Right now we are posed to close at 12 midnight. And on especially on Monday nights, hardly anyone ever places any orders or deliveries around then. So after around 10 o'clock or so, maybe 10:30, it's just smooth sailing from there on out, and I can even just complete things at my leisure. Occasionally there is the stray order or stray weird person who comes in at 11:45 to order a carry out. But I mean, that's happened so little in the time I've been there, and I've been there like 3 months now, so it doesn't really bother me. Let's see. Tuesday is basically I come in at the same time, but I don't close, so I usually get out around 10 o'clock. Getting out of the job usually depends on whenever the dinner rush ends because they try to keep as many drivers there until the dinner rush ends. Actually, it doesn't depend on if you're working that day, then they want you there for the dinner rush period because that's usually when we get the most orders, and it's pretty bad. But yeah, Tuesday things are smooth sailing. Wednesday is pretty similar. I feel like I'm I think it's labeled that I'm the late driver then, so we have a new policy where the late driver takes out the garbage before they leave. And considering I used to do that every morning when I opened, which hopefully that's gonna. We'll get to that one later. It's not too bad. Last night I actually was a late driver due to some schedule changes, and what I did was, considering that it's basically the two main trash cans are piled up with trash from the entirety of the day. They're pretty difficult to take out, especially the one near the make line and the oven. So what I do is what I did was what I like to call a pro gamer move. So I took the two trash bags. We only have two big cans, one in the back and the one by the make line, and I tied them up and put them outside. Actually, no. I tied them up and put them on the hood of my car. Now, I couldn't tie up the bigger one by the make line because it was so damn full of trash, but I still managed to balance it out. Now, next thing I did, I basically rolled down the window and started up my car. And while looking out the window, because my windshield was obstructed by the garbage, what I did was I basically strolled through the empty parking lot in my car and pulled it right up to the dumpster, which normally would be a bit of a walk, and it would be more of a chore to put it in there, but yeah. Um, and then, since I was right by the dumpster, I just took it to stuff and tossed it in there. The big open trash bag leaked on my car a little. There was some shredded mozzarella cheese that got on there, so I had to brush that off a bit. And luckily for me, it also rained last night, so now hopefully the hood of my car, when I go back out there, shouldn't smell like moldy cheese. I really hope it doesn't. But yeah, should I tell that story? Oh, man. Okay. Okay, this is sort of bad, but I mean, it's not intended in a bad way. Okay, so when I went out to take out the trash, I'm very concerned about the animals in my area because there are like it's sort of a suburban area and also near some more like wildlife areas, preserves, parks. So it's not uncommon to see like lots of deer or even like I saw a fox one time, and I also see a lot of roadkill. So when I go out to the dumpster, I'm like, okay, I hope there are not any raccoons in the trash because I know that raccoons like to hang out in trash dumpsters. So when I go to put the garbage in there, I'm like, I hope there aren't any coons in there. And now, so I go ahead and throw the trash in there. And then when I'm walking back to my car, I see another guy in the parking lot who I can't tell directly, but I think he was an African American man, which you don't want to say certain things like I did when I was talking to the raccoons to them. I really hope it wasn't that case and he thought I was talking to him because, oh boy, that would have been bad. Oh boy. Ugh. Either way, he didn't seem to acknowledge me at all, so I think it was pretty okay. I think he understood the situation, at least I hope. But yeah. And then I clocked out after that. So yeah, that is how things went last Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, which I already described how Wednesday I'm the late driver. And I'd probably be taking out the trash again tonight. Anything else about Wednesdays? No, not in particular. Thursday is my off day. Friday, I used to order pizzas on Friday every day. Or every week. I never order pizzas on Friday again because I know the pain and suffering that delivery drivers and the delivery staff have to go through on Friday because I wasn't the only one who originally assumed Friday was pizza night. Oh yeah, there were a butt ton of people. A butt ton of people order on Friday, putting it lightly. I mean, like everyone and their grandma wants pizza on Friday night. We have to have like every driver that we have on schedule to work then. And if we're missing one or two drivers, you feel it in your soul. It is brutal. We have to make some insane deliveries. Like have to stack. I think one time I had to multiple times, maybe even I had to deliver 3 orders at once because we were so far behind, considering some people decided that they couldn't be coming in on Friday, which is a really bad thing. You always want to let them know 2 weeks in advance if you're not going to be there, so hopefully they can find somebody to replace you, especially on Friday. Saturday is similar to Friday, except it's not as bad. However, recently Saturday is when I've been opening. We'll be getting into why hopefully that's going to stop very soon. But yeah, opening fucking sucks, and I hate it. Alright, so let me put it into perspective for you. It is 10 a.m. And let's say you worked really late Friday, so, one time I had to work until after midnight. So, and then I had to come home, make dinner, and I got to bed maybe around 2 a.m. Then I have to get up around 9 o'clock, get ready for work, and then drive in. Of course, the manager who opens doesn't come in around until 10:30 because, I don't know, he likes to take things easy, but either way, yeah. It's 10 o'clock, I show up, I get in there sooner or later, then I start by taking the trash out, or clocking in, then taking the trash out, which is basically the same, except this was before I devised the trash bags on the hood of my car strategy. I actually developed that from somebody I saw doing that in one of the apartment complexes I delivered to the same day. Yeah. But yeah, I take out the trash. Then I have to basically any boxes of like stuff, ingredients, supplies that were delivered the other day, I have to go through them all, label them with expiration dates, and put them where they belong. And considering I don't do that often, I usually have to ask my manager, where does this go? And yeah, it doesn't usually end well. At least it doesn't feel like it. Plus, there's a lot of heavy lifting, which I am not good at. I'm a very scrawny boy. And by very scrawny, I mean my arms are scrawny, my legs are ripped. At least that's what I've been told. I don't believe it. But moving on, yeah. Sorting new stuff is always a pain. And then, of course, you have to go ahead and make the do the dishes. Okay, dishes you usually do on closing night, like all the dishes in the shop. There's some new policies to that, like people who leave at a certain time have to do whatever dishes are remaining. But until recently, it's been mostly the closer who's been having to wash all the day's dishes, which is especially bad on Friday and Saturday. Saturday morning, though, we don't really have to wash much, just like a few bins of like ingredients and stuff, and that's really about it. And then, as if that weren't enough, you got to make the sauce for the day. And depending on how busy Friday was, you usually have to make around 3 sauce buckets, sometimes 4, and if you're lucky, only 2. Making the sauce is a pain. You have to use cold water, put it into a bucket, and then you have to open the tomato sauce packets, or the pizza sauce packets, which are basically inside boxes. And then you take those, and you empty them in there. You have to empty all of it in there, which is a real pain because, if you've, like, you guys ever have those Lunchables where you have that little sauce packet? It's sort of like that, except it's like 5 times bigger. And you know how you could still see remnants of the sauce in there that you couldn't squeeze out onto your pizza, but you just couldn't get it in there. You just couldn't get it out of the bag. Yeah, we have to do that too. Except it's a lot harder to get it out of that bag considering it's a lot bigger. But yeah, there are 2 bags per bucket. Then you take the big sauce mixer, which honestly isn't one of the worst parts, and then you mix it all together. Mainly, it's just the pouring the sauce out of the packet into the bucket, which is my main gripe with making sauce. The mixing part isn't too bad unless you screw up and get sauce everywhere, which I've only done once, which I'm proud of. I'm not proud of the fact that I've done it, but I'm proud of the fact that I've only screwed up once. Yeah. You just basically stir it up until it looks less like water and more like sauce. And then once it's finally done, you put the lid on that, and then you move on to the next bucket. That, I'd say it takes me about 5 minutes per bucket, which, considering my track record, it used to be about 10 minutes per bucket, so I've gotten a lot better at that. Hopefully I shouldn't be having to do that anymore, because the guy who normally opens, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm still talking about what opening entails. And then so you think, okay, after that you're still done. No, you gotta collapse all of the boxes and stuff, like all the boxes that house the ingredients that you just put away. Sometimes, like throughout the day on Friday, people will throw them in the back, and you gotta collapse all those boxes and take them out to the dumpster. The same dumpster you put the trash in, except it's next to that dumpster. It's the recycling dumpster. Don't want to put all your cardboard going into the trash. Okay, so then you're like, okay, I've done all this backbreaking labor. Oh, but that's not the worst part. Sometimes people place orders really early in the day. So, if you have luckily this hasn't happened to me yet. It happens on Friday though. But yeah, you could have that job interrupted, and you have to go and do a delivery, and then you have to come back and continue all that opening work labor. Now, it's never gotten bad enough to the point where I'm not able to complete that labor because I'm so damn busy and they have to get somebody else to do it. But even if that were the case, I'd say the earliest another driver shows up is around 1:30 p.m. So, yeah, that sucks. Okay, so you're the... Alright, so let me put this into perspective before I get to the worst part of opening. You're there at 10 o'clock, maybe even earlier. Then the manager usually comes in around 10:15 or 10:30 if he's really feeling lazy. Of course, then again, last time I actually opened with my boss, so he was there before me. Which, I guess, great on him. My boss puts in a lot of heavy hours. I'll talk about the people I work with in a bit. And then, let's see. Yeah, so you're there at 10. You take out the garbage. You do the dishes. You label and load all of those boxes. And then, let's see. Oh, did I mention the fact that, yeah, the sauce. Make the sauce. Collapse all those boxes and do any orders that you happen to get throughout the day. The earliest another delivery driver comes in is usually around 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And then after all that's done, you stay until the rest of the day. The earliest you're usually getting out of there is after a 10-hour shift. And if you're lucky, that's usually a 10-hour shift. If you're not so lucky, then it's usually a 12-hour shift. And God forbid, if you open and then close the same night and then open again, or if you, you'll be spending a 14-hour shift there, probably maybe even 15 hours if you're very unlucky and we had a big load. And then you come in after, like, I don't know, maybe 5 hours of sleep, and then you do it all over again. Okay, there are lots of things I could say about that. Luckily, it's never been that bad for me, but... Whoo! How do they get away with working people to the bone like that? Ugh. I can't even imagine having to open and close on the same day. Being in the store for over 14 hours, I think I'd rather die. Ugh. Yeah. Luckily, now that we've gone through my entire week, because Sunday I have off, we can now talk about what happens when brain. Yeah, we could talk about the people I work with. So, first of all, I want to talk about one of the two of the best people I work with right now. There are three basically full-time drivers who are basically godsends to help lighten the load on me. The first of which, who I haven't seen around often because he recently got done with his surgery, is, let's call him Willis. Now, Willis is basically a super old man. Now, I don't mean like super old as in he's like really, really old. I mean, he's an old man, but with superpowers. He opens like half the days of the week. I don't know how he does it. I've already talked about how much opening sucks, and he does it half the days of the week. Is he just a morning person, or... I don't know, but either way, Now that he's back on the schedule, he should be back to opening Saturdays again, which means I can come in to for only the Saturday dinner rush. And I I can't say enough good things about Willis. There is nothing I can do about him. I mean, not enough I can say to praise him. Without him, my job would be absolute hell. And considering he's been out of condition for a month, like 2 months now because of surgery, it's going to make things on all the delivery drivers a hell of a lot easier. Because, again, he is a super old man, and he does his job with such gusto. He needs a fucking raise. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what's in his system, but Godspeed, buddy. Godspeed. You are amazing. All right. But enough about Willis. Let's move on to the next guy. Let's call him, I don't want to give people's actual names here, but, let's call him Cedric. Now, Cedric, he is basically a pretty big guy, but bigger than anything is his heart, because he's sort of like everybody's dad. Like, all the younger people there, he's sort of like their makeshift dad for when they're working. Oh, he is fantastic. He is supportive. He offers you great advice. And also, considering that both of our senior delivery drivers, he was the only senior delivery driver who was still on the scene recently, he was working his little heart out, and his brain was basically mush by the end of the night. Ugh. I know I said little heart out, but I already established he's got a big heart. He is supportive. He is awesome. And there's not enough good things I could say about Cedric and Willis. But yeah, Cedric's been there a long time. He usually closes most nights. And he works so many hours, too. He only has like 1 day off a week. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how all these full-time drivers do it. I'm pretty sure they work overtime, too. Yeah. Alright. But, there's probably more good things I could say about Cedric, but, I don't want to get hung up on one person for too long, because I'm basically going through all the store staff that I have to work with. Let's talk about, blah, 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 the other senior driver. I say senior driver, but I mean, they're my senior drivers, not like they're old people. Willis is the only guy who I'd qualify as being old. Davey. Now, Davey, he, with Willis's absence, he's actually been the one who's opening, a lot of the days. So, yeah, Davey works, long and hard, and, similar respects. He's pretty similar to Cedric. I don't really get to talk to him as much, but, from what I've seen, he's also, like, a, Uber driver and, like, a Lyft driver, so, he has his work cut out for him. I don't know why he has to work that much. I mean, I assume he's got lots of family to support or something, but Godspeed. Those three are basically the only ones keeping the company going. And by the company, I mean, of course, like, the store is family owned. We'll actually get to my boss in just a moment here, but the store is family owned, not corporate owned. All right, so let's talk about like the managers and stuff. First and foremost, there's the boss. Let's call him. I'm not sure what to call him. That I could be not hinting towards his actual name. Give me a sec here. Let's call him Damien. So Damien, he's basically the owner. He's in his 40s, and he's also very supportive and such. I don't know if he's in charge of the store's hours or anything, but that's some topic for controversy considering how many people he's able to hire on staff. Because our store right now is severely understaffed. I don't know if all of it stems from Damien's doing or if it's from somebody from corporate, but our store is going through like some staffing issues and hour issues. But aside from that, he is very supportive. Also, helpful in directing you to do the right thing. And all in all, I'd say he's a great boss, from what I've understood. He's also pretty funny and pretty sociable too. So, I mean, I could get behind that. He's helpful. Just there are worse bosses out there. Damien is not one of them. Now, next up is Dimitri. Dimitri is Damien's. I want to say he's related to Damien, but either way, Dimitri is that sort of laid back manager I talked about earlier, the one I usually open on Saturdays with. The one who usually shows up around 10:15, 10:30. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for Dimitri, but yeah. He's also kind of forgetful, and sometimes it doesn't even seem like he really wants to be there. But, I mean, he still does all the work of a manager and gets the job done. I don't know if he's related to Damien, but I think they had the same last name, so I think they're both related on at least some front. And, yeah, but despite all the bad things I say about him, he's still a good manager. There is not, like, a single person I dislike there. There are a few things Damien could be, or Dimitri could be doing better, but, I mean, he still gets the job done, he still does everything properly, and, he's still helpful. He teaches you how to do stuff, albeit very quickly and a little sloppily, but, I mean, he's there and he does his job, which is more than I can ask for in a manager. And the last manager we have is, let's see here, what should I call him? Let's call him Tim. Now, Tim is he's sort of a more reserved guy. I mean, but he still offers funny quips in here and there. It took him a while for us to warm up to each other, but now that we've gotten to that point, he's actually a pretty swell guy. I used to normally think he was keeping me late on purpose just because I was doing things wrong and he wanted to get back at me in some sort of petty revenge, but I realize that that's not the case. At least I hope it's not. But yeah, Tim is a swell guy. He just really focuses on his job. I'd say he's the one, unlike Dimitri, he takes his job completely seriously and hardly ever misses a beat. He's supportive and he's attentive. And all in all, I'd say he comes off as a bit intimidating, but I mean, it really just that's really just the first time before you get to know him. Once he opens up, you realize, oh hey, he's actually a very swell guy. All right, and now I've talked about Tim. Those are all the managers out of the way. Now let's talk about the before I get to the non-senior drivers who I think are actually there aren't any really more. There aren't a whole lot of non-senior drivers at this point. Well, let's talk about the kitchen staff. Okay, so there's Cal. Now Cal, I think is related to Cedric. I don't really see him. Doing a whole lot outside the kitchen. He's usually incredibly busy at the make line and especially in the oven. He's great on oven duty. But he, on the other hand, knows how to press your buttons in a nice way, just sort of annoy you. But he's also a good person to talk to. Very supportive, like Cedric, and just all in all helps lighten the mood a bit. Just a good person to talk to if you want to take your mind off stuff. So, yeah. He's a fun guy. There's another guy as well. I don't really know his name. He's just sort of there. I don't know his name, so he's sort of a lanky guy, so I'm just going to call him Lanky. I mean this in a good way. I have a neutral opinion about him. I mean, if there's one person I'd have to say I like the least there, After myself, it would have to be him because I have a neutral opinion about him. Everybody else there is neutral to positive. But yeah, I don't I don't choose to dislike anyone there. In fact, I don't dislike the guy. It's just that he's the one I know the least well. He's sort of like what should we call him? Tim, except he is like he only talks to you if he absolutely has to. Um Aside from that, he's always like very quietly doing his work in the kitchen, and he gets it done. He gets it done. That's the important thing. Aside from that, I don't really think that we have any more kitchen staff. I mean, managers and stuff usually help out in the kitchen, so that's why it normally flows very smoothly. Also, some of the delivery drivers help out there. Like the senior drivers usually help out. Like what is it? Cedric and Davey are usually there to help out when they're around. So yeah, that those are usually most of the people who work in the kitchen. Like I sometimes man the ovens too. Like for things that I understand. I don't really understand a lot of that stuff. Most of the time, I just like get stuff off the oven and like I know how to cut certain pizzas. But yeah, a lot of my time I spend folding boxes and doing dishes because I want to make myself look good. And we'll be getting to that why I want that to happen in a minute. But for the last part, let's talk about the remaining delivery drivers. Who I think there's only 3 left, and they're all girls. First and foremost, we have let's see, let's call her Sonia. Now, Sonia, I don't really see her much around. I think that she and the other 3 girls are both about to basically be done working there. But yeah, Sonia, she's more of a quiet person. I mean, I think that she talks with the other 3 girl drivers, a lot. But I mean, I don't really talk to her much in general because I can't talk to girls to save my life unless they talk to me first, which one of them actually does. We'll be getting to her in just a moment. And then after Sonia, we have Olivia. Now, Olivia is, putting it lightly, she's very cute. She's redhead and also friendly, sociable. Not as sociable, like she won't go out of her way to talk to you, but yeah, we're all nice with each other. Oh, there's another delivery driver I completely forgot to mention. We'll be getting to him in a moment. I'll actually talk about him next, but before I forget about him again, which is a shame because he's a really cool guy. But yeah, Olivia, red hair, cute. She sometimes helps out in the kitchen, does her job with the driving and such, and yeah, all in all, just a very nice person. I've heard that she has a boyfriend, of course, so I don't also want to bring romance into the workplace. So yeah, even though honestly, I can't imagine the 2 of us together, but that's a topic for another day. Moving on to the other driver. Well, I really can't come up with a name for this guy because he's got sort of an exotic name in general. Let's call him Sam. Now, Sam is a really cool guy because, okay, this is the reason why he's really cool. I think is a little subjective, but I really like his accent. He's got sort of a Barbados accent, sort of a African accent. It's really cool. I can hardly understand a word he says, but he's also a nice guy. There's also a bit of a funny story that I have with him, which I'll get to when we talk about the funny stories that happen while I work, which I'll probably get to around the time that we're done with talking about the drivers. But he's a really cool guy, also supportive. I can hardly ever understand a word of what he says because his accent is really thick, but his accent is also part of what makes him so cool. So, I mean, yeah, I'll give him a pass on that. And the last the remaining drivers, the third female delivery driver. Let's see, what should I call you? Let's call her Danica. Now, Danica, she is honestly when I first arrived, she was probably the least the last of the female drivers who approached me, but now she actually sort of approaches and talks to me the most. We're friendly with each other. She's really nice, and honestly, she's pretty too, so that goes a long way. You see, I can talk to girls, they just have to talk to me first. And granted, I'm also still very awkward at talking to people, but hey, I mean, she seems a little awkward sometimes too, so it evens out. She's very friendly. That's all I can really say about people here. They're friendly, supportive, but I mean, our workplace is a team, and we have to be friendly and supportive to each other. But yeah, Danica, she also is. I sometimes vent to her, like I tell her about how much opening sucks, and I warn her about those apartment complexes from hell. Oh, don't worry, we'll get to them in a bit too, hopefully. But yeah, and that's basically the entire crew. There are like a few other people I've seen on the job, but I haven't seen them since. I'm pretty sure Olivia might be done because I saw her like name taken off the schedule. And I know that Sonia and Danica are also leaving soon for one reason or another. But yeah, I just hope that there are some more pretty girls to get on the staff too, because I need to brush up on my skills when it comes to talking to girls because, well, you know me, I can't do that shit. Alright, so yeah, there we go. There's the entire crew. And, I mean, I suppose I could talk about myself, but you guys already know about me, right? I'm antisocial, I'm very weird in public situations, but when you get me here, I am basically no bars holding me back. I am just very weird and eccentric, and also very loud. That too. And I like to talk about stuff that annoys me. That is why I'm making this series. I don't know what I'm calling it yet. Maybe I'll call it Vent of the Maelstrom or something. But then again, that's just like Voice of the Maelstrom, so that wouldn't get too much. But anyways, let's talk about funny things that happen while I'm working. So Sam, the aforementioned driver with the really thick accent. There was this one time where he was taking down some boxes from the top shelf, and I was walking by. They were empty boxes, so of course nothing hurts, or no big deal if something goes wrong. But I'm sort of walking by in his peripheral vision, and when he grabs the boxes down, he just sort of lets his arm go, and while still holding onto the boxes, so he just sort of grabs them back down. And while I'm walking around, he can't really see me, so when he brings his arm back down, the boxes sort of lightly hit me in the crotch. Not enough to cause any pain, but definitely enough to cause alarm, and I'm just like, oh! And it's like, oh my god, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, you didn't hit it very hard, I'm just a little surprised is all. And then, Damien, who's like sitting by, just like, jokingly says, we're gonna have to report that. Which, honestly, that was a really fun moment. I want to say that. I hope Sam doesn't still feel guilty about that, because it really didn't hurt. It was just mostly a surprising incident. But yeah, as for funny things that happen around the store, I'd say that that's like one of the only things that comes to mind. Most of the funny things that happen during my job happen when I'm not in the store, when I am driving. I want to tell you guys about probably the stupidest delivery person I ever had to make. The delivery to a person I've ever had to make. So, of course, this happens on a Saturday because all the idiots order on Friday and Saturday. Because, yeah, I know I used to be that way too. Shame me all you want. I think I deserved it for ordering pizzas on a Friday. God. But yeah. I order all my pizzas on Sundays now, FYI. Carry out. But in the meantime, let's talk about that funny incident. So, I want to say it was all this person really ordered was like a small pepperoni pizza, and maybe that. Yeah, I think that was all. So of course I go to her house. Her house is maybe about a mile away, but of course it's past a really busy street, so it's difficult to get into. And then I pull up to the driveway, knock on the door, and she's like, "Oh, hi there. Okay, do you take card?" I'm like, okay, so the delivery order is set to it's a cash delivery. So I'm like, no, ma'am. Right now I can only take cash. If you wanted to pay with card, you should have done that when you ordered. She's like, okay, hold on a minute, and then goes back into the house. And like a moment later, she comes back out with a Benjamin, and she's like, "Do you have cash for 100?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, we're only allowed to carry $15. I highly doubt I'm able to give you unless you want to give me like $90 as a tip. I don't think that I should be taking that 100." She's like, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you do? Do you just take it back to the store then?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, if you can't pay for it, I don't have a choice." So in the end, I ended up taking the pizza back to the store, and I relayed this story to what did I call him? Dimitri, and he like laughs and he's like, "You know what the dumbest part is? She placed that order online and she chose to do it in cash and not card. Why would you give me a card at the door? Do you think I have a card reader in my pocket? Do you think our delivery drivers are that?" Anyway, so that is the story of the dumbest bitch I've ever delivered to. And yeah, I have a lot more stories from when I delivered. I actually posted photos on my Facebook page about this, but one Saturday I got stuck in the mud. That was fun. And by fun, I mean absolutely no fun was had whatsoever. There's another bad story that actually got me into trouble with the company, or at least with Damien. I want to talk about it, but honestly, it's kind of embarrassing, and I feel like I was having a bad day, and I sort of panicked. Long story short, I didn't do what I should have, and I greatly upset a person. Nothing was damaged. If anything, it just ruined my reputation for a bit. That's part of why I'm working so hard to make up for it. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I didn't do anything terrible. Like, nobody was hurt. Nothing was damaged. I just panicked and acted like a bit of an asshole. Which, to be fair, I'm awkward in social situations, and my brother tells me I act like an asshole a lot. If you heard that, that was my phone notification. And, hold on a sec. Okay, okay, yeah, but get it. Skeletor is very excited about the pizza and wants He-Man to eat it. Um, okay, so, uh, yeah, my brother-in-law's over in the next room and he could probably hear me, recording this, so, yeah. He's asking to play his music while he cooks, which, is sort of therapeutic for him. I'm gonna go ahead and tell him that he can go ahead. It shouldn't be an issue. I just, hope that I'll be able to grab lunch somewhere beforehand. I'm probably might even try go stop by that Subway. Is he continuing to try to text me while I'm recording this? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna put my phone on vibrate for now while I have this going on. Okay. Uh, this would be a lot easier if he would. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Well, am I gonna cut any of that out? I don't know. I don't care. That was not important. But anyway, yeah, that was an embarrassing incident, and if nothing else, it just gave me a bit of a bad reputation. But then again, I think when I came in there, everybody already sort of knew that I had bad luck. I mean, again, some of it was bad luck. Some of it was just the Google Maps not working properly. That's how I got stuck in the mud. And some of it was just my eyesight. I actually had to go and get glasses so I can drive properly at night now. All right, but aside from that, what other stories do I have? Honestly, I don't really have many other stories to tell about work. you guys know how much of a pain it is on me. I work about 40 hours a week, nearly full time, and yeah, it's a bit of a pain sometimes. Really, I feel like that's just about everything about my job that I wanted to mention. Talked about the dumb bitch. Oh, I didn't talk about all the wildlife I see. So yeah, while our store is located in a suburban area, we deliver to a lot of, I'd say, more rural back areas where you see a lot of wildlife and forestry. Like I remember there's this one neighborhood that's like situated in a golf course. I have a video I took of that. There was like a butt ton of deer just standing around, walking through the neighborhood casually. This was maybe around a little before dusk. And yeah, it was just weird to see. I honestly still can't believe I saw that many deer in a public place all at once. I mean, I know something like that, like in Nara, Japan, they basically have them walking around casually, being all friendly. I wonder if that's the same case there. I want to say earlier that week I also saw a wild fox for the first time in my life. And also, yeah, but we get a lot of deer around the back areas of around here. Um, but yeah, lots of wildlife. I've had several instances where deers have basically crossed my path while I was working. And then, of course, for those of you who stick around with the Facebook post, you saw that I saw a road-killed cat one time, and that really tugged at my heartstrings all day. I basically took it at the end of my shift and moved it to the sidewalk in a big bed of grass, just hoping somebody would find it. About a day later, I saw the body was finally gone. Yeah, considering I already dealt with a pretty big incident earlier in the year that also involved a deceased cat, one of my own, which I don't really like to remember because that was one of my. It was a very depressing incident in my life. Speaking of pets and depressing, there's another thing that happens while I'm driving. There is like I want to say at least 100 signs in my driving domain of like a lost dog. I'm serious. These signs are friggin' everywhere. I'm gonna take like a picture of every one I see while I'm at work today and post them all up. I don't know if I could show like the number or area code or anything, but either way, there's like 100 signs for this lost dog, and they've been up for like several months. So if that dog hasn't been found by now, it must be it must be gone or destroyed or something. But oh my god, how many signs do you need? How rich do you have to be to place this many fucking signs around town? Ugh. Okay, I should probably stop talking about things that are gonna make me have to post visuals because this is primarily an audio thing. Speaking of which, I feel like we should be wrapping this up pretty soon. So yeah, that was just me talking about my job and how it's good and also bad at the same time. But regardless of whether I like this job or not, I have to keep it because I can't find another job to replace it yet that suits my talents. And also, I really fucking need the money. While I don't enjoy this job, it pays really great. Right now, I believe I'm sitting on like $5,000 in reserves, which honestly, I'm probably going to be spending a bit because not spending, but donating it a bit because in a couple of days, TRG Coliseum is coming up, and what do we do then? We donate to Lord Donate to, Direct Relief. Yeah. Totally would donate to Lord Donator, though, to give him some more lamps, because whatever. Nobody cares about that. We're talking about me here. But yeah, I make a nice ton. Of course, a lot of that stuff is like, I get a big pile of cash at the end of each day. I honestly have a huge pile of cash in my room right now. By the way, that's don't come into my house to take it because A, that is illegal, and B, I would feel like I'm very unsafe if you're able to find my location. But yeah, there is. I have a big pile of cash, and every time I go to Publix or something, I place a money order, and I get. I want to say, uh, brain, please, yeah, donate. Donate. Ugh, I don't donate to Publix. They don't need any money. They got plenty of money. I place a money order, and sometimes I get $500 to $1,000 back at a time that I can directly deposit into my savings account. So yeah, that's what I do with all my cash. And what I do with that is, of course, I pay my student loans and my insurance and my rent. Okay. And now that I've talked about all that, I'd say we're over 50 minutes. I'd say that is plenty of time for the length of a podcast. I'd say maybe an hour would be good to shoot for normally, but I mean, I am honestly surprised I managed to get through talking about all this at the same time. Oh, you know what? No, we're not quite done because I forgot to mention one of my least favorite places to deliver to. The apartment complexes from hell. Yeah, I think we might be able to make an hour out of this. Okay, let's talk about the apartment complexes from hell. So particularly, there are 3 bad apartment complexes, and they're all in the similar area. First one I ever delivered to was widely considered to be the worst in the workplace. I can't mention it by name, but let's call it Dead Trees. Yeah, Dead Trees apartment complex. This apartment complex is a nightmare. Roads are littered with potholes, and the building layout doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, sometimes you, like it goes 1, 2, 4, and the buildings are basically all spread out. You have to memorize where the numbers of each building are. Luckily for me, I think I've already done that, and also I've invested in a spotlight to help me easily locate where the numbers are on each building. And while they are a pain to navigate around your first time, they are kind enough to tell you which apartment numbers are located on which floors. Unlike another apartment complex which we're about to get to. And yeah, it's just a real pain your first time, but after that, it's not so bad. Not so bad. Alright, next up is another one that is close by Dead Trees. We'll go ahead and call that, what should we call it? I don't really know the name of that place normally. I know the road it's on. I can't come up with a clever name for it. We'll just call it The Unmentionable. The Unmentionable is, it kind of sucks. So, while the buildings aren't laid out as bad as Dead Oaks, they're still somewhat of a pain to find if you can't remember their locations. They're still a bit spread out and all. And, brain, think coherent sentence, please. Yeah, also, they don't tell you where the rooms are, so you normally have to guess. At least the rooms are differently numbered depending on what level they are on, and luckily there are only 2 floors, one on ground level and one on up the stairs for each apartment. So those normally aren't too bad when I have to go to the unmentionable apartment. And then there's the third one. Oh boy. Let's just call that Hell Center Boulevard. The Hell Center Boulevard apartments are the absolute fucking worst. So, let me try to paint this into perspective for you. Let's see. Okay, so you have 9 buildings. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G and H, and maybe J. I don't know. Maybe there's only 8 buildings. Okay, so if you want to make a delivery there in the dark, let's make the delivery building letters as tiny as possible. Oh, also, and let's start the building process in the back. So A is the furthest building away, and then we go B and then C. And then the closer ones are G and J. Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Oh, yeah. That's not even the worst part. Oh, no. Okay, so each building letters has like two buildings. And each building has 4 rooms per floor. So let's say if you want to go to building A, the first floor is going to have 8 apartment rooms because there are 2 buildings, 4 rooms each. And now let's talk about how they're numbered. Who the fuck thought of this? I have to actually make a diagram of this because it's so fucking stupid. Alright, so it goes in like a swirl pattern. So bottom left you have 1, and then to the right of that you have 2. Then you hop over to the other building. On the left of that building there's 3, and then 4. And then guess what? They're like, okay, what should we do now? Let's go up this way. And then they're like, okay, so building 5's on the top right of the right building. And then building 6, and apartment 6 is on the top left of that building. And they're like, oh, we still have 2 rooms over here on the left building. What should we do? 7 on the top right, and then 8 on the top left. Okay, now we have another floor. What should we do there? Let's do the same thing again, except, let's start it with 9 on the bottom left, and then keep going around in a spiral pattern. Who the fuck thought that up? I want to find them and kick them straight in the balls. And if they don't have balls, I'd like them to grow a pair so I can kick them. Who thought this was okay? And that's not even... Actually, no, that is the worst part. But also, the people there are usually jerks. I remember one time I went to deliver to a lady. They're like, no instructions on the delivery. I'm like, okay. So I go and knock on the door as usual. Nobody answers. I knock on the door again. Then of course, she comes out and she's like, the instructions said not to knock. And I'm like, okay. It didn't say that on the instructions. It didn't say that anywhere on your apartment. You could have put them on the instructions if you actually took the time to fucking go out of your way and say, don't knock on door. Because I would have just called you instead. But no. No instructions. People there are assholes. I fucking hate that place, and I'd say, oh god. Hell Center Boulevard is quite literally hell. And those are the 3 apartment complexes from hell. There are others, but they aren't quite as bad. Some of them even have signs that direct you in the way to go. So yeah, they aren't quite as bad. Hell Center Boulevard is really the worst of them. So yeah, there you go. There's Hell Center Boulevard. I hate it. And with that, I'd say we are just about at enough time. So, if I am going to turn this into a podcast, I might as well plug myself. So anyways, this is my channel, Voice of the Maelstrom. I don't know where else I want to put this podcast. Maybe, if I can get some recommendations, I'll put it somewhere else. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for listening. I'd like to thank me for all the wonderful visuals. I'd also like to thank me for providing the wonderful commentary, and me for producing this content. Look, I watch a lot of disc only. I don't really know how much podcasts... That's the only basis I have to base podcasts off of, so forgive me if my podcasting ability is not very good. And, on that note, I'm Chaos Maelstrom. You can find me on my YouTube channel at Chaos Maelstrom. That's where I do all my Let's Plays and stuff. Right now, I'm currently playing through Sky 2, which I've been stuck on for, I want to say, since last year, August of last year, I feel like. Not because I'm having a bad time with it, but mainly because my computer has a lot of hard drive space that is already filled, so I'm having a difficult time coming up with extra space. You can also find me at the Chaos Guild. That's where our group channel where I play games with my friends Cambark Fire 4 and Azure Raycon. And we get into a lot of weird antics, such as Cam throwing a fit over how his plan was foiled, or us watching a squirrel hover rafting on a hoverboard over a River of Lava die 63 times or 66 times. How many times did I fucking die in that video? I don't know, but who cares? And it wasn't just me. It was also Azure who played that segment. And yeah, we get into a lot of weird antics, have a lot of weird conversations. And once in a blue moon, I upload something from our D&D campaign. By once in a blue moon, I mean literally once. I swear I'm going to get the rest of it out there eventually. I really like Harold as a character. But enough about that. We finally hit the hour mark. I'm going to sign off here. So thank you all for listening to this podcast slash venting incident thing. Yeah, my brain has decided, okay, I'm done talking. Now I'm going to make everything you say very stupid. Everything you say sound very stupid. Yeah. Again, that's my brain just turning off. So, thank you all for listening. I will see you guys whenever when I decide to talk about something again, which will probably be my struggles with the greatest challenge I've ever faced. The female. Anyway, that is all. See you guys next time. Laters!